whispering, and we weren't allowed to speak with them. So when you wonder about where America really is and what the stories are, you don't have to wonder anymore.
In the history of our country, devised by a person who never even took an environmental course. You know who that is, right? AOC +3. Remember what she said, 12 years. Well, the 12 years has pretty much come up, Mr. Congressman, right, Matt? Right? The 12 years has come and gone. We weren't going to be around anymore after 12 years. This is a young lady who, I don't know if she's having a lot of fun or what, but boy, I watched those senators. They were there for a long time. I watched them say, yeah, that's right, that's right. You know what her real goal is? $93 trillion. They don't want any more windows in apartments, no more windows. They'd like every building in Manhattan to be taken down and build a building with no windows in it. You have to be one of the greatest salesmen in the world to sell one of those apartments. I guess I have it wrong. I've always been known for having the biggest windows. I want those windows to be so big, right down to the bottom of the floor. And the bigger they are, the better they sell. That's just the way it is. I gotta change my whole philosophy if you don't vote me in, because I'll go back to building crazy buildings now and I won't be able to use windows anymore. No, they don't want windows. They don't want cows. They don't want anything. They don't know what they want, actually. And I will cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. We're going to cut it in half. We have liquid gold. And then everything else is going to come down. It was energy that brought it up. It's going to be energy that brings it down. They screwed up that energy policy. They had it down to nothing, and then they snapped it back. They said, we're not going to win and elect the prices. Remember, they're going through crazy. Then they got it back almost to my level. But see, my level wasn't right because I would have been 4 times that level by then. Then I will be 4 times or 5 times the level very soon. Despite all of the damage she's caused, Kamala has spent the final week of her campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And 2 days ago, Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. Garbage. That's nasty. I think that's worse than deplorables, right? How did that work out for Hillary? I think this is going to work out even worse. And they mean it. They mean it, even though without question my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. Look at that. Look at that. They had nobody like that. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't do it. Can't do it. You can't be president if you hate the American people, and they do hate it. They hate the American people. Who would have an open border policy where prisons and jails and penitentiaries are allowed to freely walk into our country? Where gang members are taken off the streets of Caracas, Venezuela, and dumped into our country. We don't even know their names. We know nothing about them. They're free to roam. They call it free to roam. Congratulations, you are free to roam. And they killed 4 people. You know, it's crazy. The 13,000 plus that we have, the killers, these are murderers from jails. Can you believe that? These were all murders, convicted murderers, in jail, in prison. And we know nothing about them. In fact, we don't even know where they are. But they're out there someplace. I'm sure we have a few of them. Welcome. I'm sure we have a few of them sitting. This can give you a little bit of the yips, right? You're sitting down now and you don't know whether or not the guy next to you killed 5 people. No, we're going to get them out of here. We're going to get them out fast. We're going to get them out fast. And our local police are going to be activated. And if we had the cooperation from the fake news, which you don't, it would happen relatively quickly. We're going to be able to do it. No, our local police, let me tell you, they know every one of them. They know their middle name. They know everything about them. They know what country they come from. They know everything. But they're told to stand back. Don't touch them. Don't do anything. Stand back. They don't want to stand back. Just like Border Patrol. They go crazy when they see these people pouring in and they can look at him and they can see trouble. They go trouble, 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 no trouble, trouble, trouble. They can look at him and they can see good or bad. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders have to have. She doesn't have any quality leadership. She shouldn't even be there. He got 14 million votes. Look, I'm not a fan. But we had a debate. He didn't do great. His numbers went down. Big deal. We wanted to see him, and they say, you can't win. You're out. This is, we call him a threat to democracy. They look at me, I'm a threat to democracy. I am the least threat. I'm the one saving our democracy. No, crazy Nancy. She's crazy as a bedbug. She walked in and she started screaming at him, you're out of here. You're out of here. Get out of here. And it's amazing, her and some of her friends. And yet with Nancy, she was a big owner of Visa stock. She started off with nothing, and now she's worth $200 million, they say. But listen to this, with her husband. With her husband. What was that all about anyway? That was a weird deal. What was that all about? So she's got the husband, and they buy stock. And she was a big owner in, I believe it was Visa, and big owner, big position. And we didn't know this, but Visa, it was going to be announced the following day that Visa was under major federal criminal investigation. And Nancy sold all of her stock at Visa the day before that came out. I don't know. Sounds a little bad. What do you think, Michael? A little bit shaky. She said it was by strictly coincidence. She said it was by coincidence. No, but I don't see the press. Did you guys read about that at all? I don't think so, huh? Joe Biden's comments were the direct result of Kamala's decision to portray everyone who isn't voting for her as an evil and even subhuman person. And we know it's what they believe because look at how they've treated you. They do treat you like garbage. They really do. For the last 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racists, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, even Nazis, and they called me Hitler. My father was a great guy. He was a strong guy, but a good guy with a big heart. Strong, but really a warm guy. Whenever we walked down the street, we'd come sometimes into Manhattan. That was a big treat. And we'd see, in those days, you don't see that anymore. Now you see it at a very much higher, at a scarier level, frankly. They put a gun in your ribs and they say, give me what you have. But they used to hold tin cups out. And he'd always walk by and he'd always put $100 in it. Anytime he saw it, he'd put $100 in. That was like $1,000 today, maybe more. I said, that's nice. I always remembered it. It's nice. But he told me once, I don't even know in what reference, but he said, never use the name Nazi. You don't use that name. Do you understand me? And never use the name Hitler. You don't have to say Hitler. Don't ever say Hitler. Do you understand? And now I'm being accused of being Hitler by these lunatics out there that have lost control of our country. Our country we're riddled with crime. Every city, you take a look at it, it's falling apart. They smell, they're dirty, they're criminal-ridden. You take a look at what's happened to our great cities, it's a shame. And you know a city, and I hate to say it, I hurt myself, I have property there, San Francisco. I have a lot of property in California, it hurts me. But I don't care about this, look, to be president is a big deal. So I don't give a damn about my property, but I own big property in San Francisco. San Francisco, now I lose another 25 million by this statement, that's one. San Francisco is almost unlivable, and it's because of her. She was the DA who destroyed San Francisco. She then became the Attorney General, and she destroyed, along with Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in history. She destroyed California. More people moved out last year than moved in. First time that's ever happened. I mean, they have the best weather, in all fairness. In all fairness, they have the most incredible weather. And they have the beautiful ocean. They have the beaches, they have everything. And you got to work hard to screw that up. But he's done it. He's done it. You know, they just passed a law on voter ID. Do you know that? That not only don't they have voter ID, but it's against the law for you to ask somebody for voter ID. So if you work at one of the very few places that would even have the consequence of asking, because there are no places, you know, they just mail out millions of ballots and they come mailed back in. They don't know where the hell they're going, although they have a pretty good idea. They tend to go to Democrat neighborhoods a little bit more. But they mail out like 38 million ballots, and then they get mailed back in. They shovel them with shovels into cans and bullshit. Because I'll tell you what, if I ran in college, you know, I went to California with the family of our great congressman and his wife, Ginger, who's incredible, Matt Gaetz, Mrs. Gaetz. And their family had a little event in a beautiful part of California, and nobody could believe, you couldn't even get on the streets. It looked like Lindbergh just arrived on Broadway. It was so crazy. We would do, with a fair count, we would do great in California, the right guy. Now, me, I would do great because Hispanics like me. I'm glad they love me. They should love me. And I love them. But I would do great. If we had an honest vote, I always say, if God came down just for one day to be the vote counter, in other words, I would win in California. I would. That's a disgrace what happens. Think of it, they send out millions and millions and millions of ballots. They go out, they come back. You know, it's interesting, when you go to a legitimate place, like in Florida, they've done a very good job, but I go into Palm Beach, I go in, they say, sir, I know who you are. I mean, I fully understand who you are, you're the president, but sir, could I see your identification? Oh. And I say, you're doing the right thing. I actually say, don't be embarrassed. You know, they're very embarrassed. Sir, I mean, I don't know how to ask, but could I see it? I say, yeah, here. Oh, thank you, sir. I thought it was you. I thought, no, they feel good. And then they give you a paper, and you sign the paper, and you put on whoever you're voting for. Maybe there's a bond issue or something, and you do a check, and they're watching, and then you sign. They walk you over to essentially a container, but it could be in the form of a machine. The fewer machines you have, the better, by the way. The fewer you have. You know, Elon Musk told me he's the greatest. I would say, you got to say, in terms of computer, I would say he's probably about as good as you get. And, you know, I watched that big rocket come in 2 weeks ago. It came in, that sucker was going to crash. I said, no, don't let it crash. I tell the story, I was talking to a very important person on the phone, very important. And I'm watching the screen, it's muted, there's no sound, but I see this scene live. And at first I thought it might be like a space-type movie, you know, some kind of a crazy movie. But this rocket comes in and it's all burned, you know, it's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour or some crazy speed, and it's just like on fire. But now it's like the size of a 22-story building. That's pretty big, right? And it's coming in, and I'm talking to this guy, and I say, do me a favor, hold it just for a second, okay? I gotta watch this. I put the phone down. I never picked it back up. Can you believe? And because I'm president, but more importantly, because I may be president, he held on for 45 minutes. The guy held on. You know, if I wasn't president, or if I had no potential to be president, he would have hung up in the first 30 seconds. But I picked that up like 45 minutes later. I said, hello, President. Very important guy. Everybody heard of him. I felt so badly, but one of those things, but I was fascinated. So I see this massive 22-story ship coming down, and you have the gantry or whatever the hell they call it nowadays, and the ship, and it's coming too fast, and I'm like, oh no! Don't do that. I don't want to see it crash. And I didn't know it was Elon. I assumed it might be. I mean, Why not? He has everything else done. But the ship is coming down, and then I see the bottom is going to hit that gantry in it. And then I see an explosion of fire. Pushes it like that, just perfect. The fire's all over the place. That whole thing is burning, the smoke. I never saw anything like it. Then, boom. And then the arms come out. And just like you do with your beautiful little baby, he'd grab that sucker. And it was secure. I said, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. It was going to crash the thing, the fire, and everything just computer, right? It was all, I called up Elon. I said, Elon, you know, he gave us the greatest endorsement. He said it's the most important election we've ever had. Do you know where he is right now? He's campaigning in Pennsylvania. Can you believe it? With all he's got to do, because he thinks it's the most important thing he can do. But I said, Elon, was that you, the rocket? Was that you, Elon? I called him up. Hello? I said, how you doing, Elon? Okay, what's up? I said, Elon, was that you with the rocket? Yeah. I said, you're unbelievable. I said, can Russia do that? No. Why not? They don't have the knowledge, and they never will. I said, can China do that? No. I said, why not? Because I have the knowledge, and they don't. It would take them 10 years before they can do that. I said, can the U.S. do it outside of you? No. I said, that's why I like this guy. That's why I like this guy. Hello, Mr. Senator, I just see you there. The Barrasso man, he's one of the greatest people. What a great, I didn't know you were going to be here. I'm very impressed. I guess Sam Brown must be doing very well for you to be here, huh? We got the leader of the Senate. We got the leader of the Senate here. And I know it's not for me, so it has to be for Sam Brown, right? Thank you. Thank you. Senator Barrasso is an unbelievable guy, and Sam is unbelievable. Said, we're going to get to him in 2 seconds. And he really